Every morning, hundreds of people living in Tijuana's Agape migrant shelter stare anxiously into their phones. They're logging into a mobile phone app that schedules appointments for asylum seekers hoping to enter the US.
Me ha tocado ver personas gritar de alegría, otros llorar también de felicidad, porque pues por fin están logrando lo que necesitan.
Vidal Garcia is one of them. He says that he's seen people break down in tears of joy after finally getting one of the coveted appointments. Since January, about 15,000 migrants in Tijuana have secured appointments through the CBP One mobile app. But most of those appointments haven't gone to people like Garcia. Almost half of them have gone to Russian nationals, even though they make up less than 10% of Tijuana's migrant population. That's according to numbers from the Mexican government. This is a huge racial and economic disparity, says Enrique Lucero. He's head of Tijuana's Migrant Affairs Department.
Como no hay un filtro para determinar quién es vulnerable o quién es más vulnerable que el otro, eso ha sido, yo creo, la mayor falla de la aplicación.
Lucero says that CBP One does not give preference to more vulnerable migrants. In fact, it rewards those with newer smartphones and more powerful Wi-Fi connections. This means that it specifically rewards the Russian war refugees. The majority of them can afford airfare to Mexico. They tend to stay in hotels with powerful Wi-Fi signals. Meanwhile, Central American migrants walk to Tijuana. They sleep in overcrowded migrant shelters and struggle to use the mobile app on their outdated phones.
Tienen mejor teléfono, ¿no? Un iPhone o un Samsung. Tienen mejor conectividad, porque no es lo mismo estar 1,000 personas en un albergue conectado todos a la misma vez que estar en tu hotel 4 personas. Entonces, la conectividad es un factor importante.
Lucero says that CBP One doesn't distinguish a Russian migrant from a Central American one. That leaves migrants like Garcia on the outside looking in. He's been living in the migrant shelter for more than a month with his 2 siblings, their partners, and 4 nephews. He's not resentful of the Russian war refugees. Most migrants feel a strong solidarity with all asylum seekers, but Garcia doesn't think it's fair that CBP One picks one group over another.
When I see people crying or jumping because they're happy, I feel the same emotion because I'm happy about them, because I wish them the best. But then I get in the office and start to cry. Sometimes, not all the time.
Pastor Albert Rivera runs the Agape migrant shelter. He sees the migrants desperately logging onto their phones every morning, and he says this is happening all along the border. Every morning, tens of thousands of people all trying to log into CBP One at once.
You have about 50,000 immigrants all at the same time trying to enter in one place, so it gets overjammed, and then there's not too many of them that get an appointment.
Rivera recently invested in a stronger Wi-Fi connection, but says that it's still not enough. And he's not an open borders guy. Rivera knows that the US cannot let everybody into the country without vetting them. He calls it a balancing act between security and humanitarianism.
We cannot say, okay, we're just interested in security and forget about human rights. And we cannot say, okay, we only are interested in human rights but are forgetting about security. And that's the problem that all the politicians have.
But to the migrants waiting for appointments in Tijuana, the entire system seems really off balance. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.